Hello and welcome. It's Grant Asplund, and thank you very much for joining us again. I'm back again with my good friend Mike Lopez, Director of Cloud Services, AccessIT Group. Mike, it's great to see you again, my friend.
Always great to see you, Grant.
Thank you, man. Okay, so in the first episode, we kind of talked about the differences of on-premise and the cloud and some of the nuances, and then we covered why outbound traffic is something you need to look at, why visibility was number two. Today, we're going to, oops, I got to get on the right click. Today, we're going to be talking about IAM, or should I say overprivileged IAM. Now, first to clarify for us Gilligans, identity access management, right, for IAM. Correct. And RBAC is role-based access controls, right?
Yes.
Okay, just, because, I had to look it up before we talked. I'm joking. So I guess, this actually fascinates me, Mike, because one of the things that's so amazing about the cloud right now is we're in the world of everything virtual, right? Software defined everything or nearly so. And with that comes what I would see as almost a tectonic shift in the way we all need to look at what identity means. Because all of a sudden it's anything and everything is going to have an identity and with it an associated privilege. Isn't that kind of where the cloud's going?
Yeah, it's actually shifted, from our on-premise data center days. Identity and access management was more, privileged access and who can get to what. That's changed rapidly because identity and access management or role-based access control in the cloud is different. Machines have the ability to assume identities. Functions have the ability to call roles. There are different things that can happen here that isn't just the common user. This isn't a matter of a user necessarily having privileges, but it's a matter of machines, functions, containers having privileges now. And it's a different scale. It's a different tectonic shift, as you'd put it, that we have to be aware of.
Well, and so what are the consequences? Obviously, when everything has an identity, it seems like you can start to prescribe maybe even more of the capabilities or reach and functions of everything because it now is a participant with this identity, right? And you need to make sure you're thinking about that as you're setting up. You can't, I guess my point is everybody can't be any, all, right? Right. All your identities have to really be focused quite the opposite, very granular and articulate, right?
Oh, absolutely. Best practices, we all know is least privileged access. And whether we're talking about a console user login that has just read capabilities on a certain VPC, or we're talking about a Lambda function that should only be able to call this function to reach this particular machine, as the case may be. It should be least privileged access. Building your security policy shouldn't be star and then let me restrict. It should be the opposite. What does it need to do? These two things. And those are the only privileges it gets. Because with overprivileged accounts, obviously with compromise, you run into all sorts of issues.
Yeah. Well, and also as we move into cloud native and I always kind of liken cloud native applications to bubbles of mercury that start off as a whole bunch of little teeny balls of mercury that all come together and all of a sudden they do what they do and then they go away. And I guess my point is, it starts to take on different complexion and you have to consider the risks when you have an S3 bucket that may be used by multiple developers, multiple departments, multiple people within an organization. It's pretty critical to have granularity in those policies within the things that resided within that bucket, no?
Yeah, not only at the bucket itself with the access control there at the bucket, but also with the privileges themselves for the IAM users. Can this person reach? And that's one of the things you can provision, clearly in S3. who can reach this bucket. And it might be shared accounts, right? There's obviously multiple accounts, and the best practices, structure with AWS. We have developers that have sign-ins across 4 or 5 accounts. We need to be able to reach this bucket, or this Lambda function needs to be able to put a log, whatever the case may be. But it should be only what we need, not, hey, it's world listable to anonymous users, which unfortunately I find far too often.
Yeah. Well, that's because it's easy, right, Mike? I mean, it's easy. Come on, let's face it. I got several guys and several things that I would have to configure, and it's just so much easier to say, Mike, oh yeah, anything, whatever. But that is what gets us into trouble, especially as we move into the cloud, because I could be anywhere on the planet and get to those resources. It's a whole new ball game, and access and identity is critical.
Yeah, you have to ask what privileges are really needed. Yeah. And it's not a matter of being, we'll just allow this whole development team total admin access. You got to ask the question. You got to think a little bit in advance, and it's different than what we were traditionally used to.
Yep. Well, this has been awesome. Okay, 1, 2, 3, we've nailed them. But today, I think people oversimplify just how critical that identity and access management component of the new cloud and the new world, how critical it really is. And you really shed some great light on it. So thank you very much, Mike. Looking forward to seeing you again, wrapping up these last 2 sessions.
See you next time.